That Jax got me crying. Boo-hoo crying, if you will. And I'm sorry, but I will never see it for Lewis, regardless of whatever little flowery ass speeches he has to say. What's good, y'all? She gets this Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another Reasonable Doubt video. And in this one, we're breaking down season 2, episode number 7. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of my Reasonable Doubt content and conversations. I go live every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, to further unpack the episodes live and get your reactions. So join me if you are catching this breakdown prior to then. If it's after, then you can always catch the replay for more Reasonable Doubt content. And let's just go ahead and get into it. Y'all, I really had big ass crocodile tears in this episode. And I don't know if it's because I'm also processing and harboring feelings that you kind of have to hold when you are in a position to support others and lead and just try to be the bridge to make things work. Oftentimes you can find yourself, at least I know I have, as an eldest daughter, as the leader, the type A person, the creative person. I always find myself in circumstances where I am leading, where I am taking charge, when I am the most communicative. And oftentimes that requires for you to put aside how you really feel about certain things or what you are actually going through. And watching Jax in this episode process the idea that Lewis had a baby on her with someone that she knew and then kept it from her and lied to her, especially while she felt like they were in a season of 100% honesty and being open and full transparency. She was finally getting to a place where she could really lean in and trust, only to have this betrayal shatter that reality that she thought was hers for the taking. She thought it was the sweet taste of victory and they had gotten to a really great place, only to realize how much of a fallacy this all was. And then to add on to that, the ties to the case that she's handling, which is her best friend being on trial for killing her abusive ex-husband, and how the woman who slept with Lewis also slept with the ex-husband. And Jax has to cross-examine her. Jax has to still show up for court. Jax has to do all of these things amidst feeling this deep-seated betrayal, this deep-seated hurt, this deep-seated anger tied to her husband being a complete and utter goof troop. I literally wept while watching the first half of this because I felt her. I felt the suffocation that happens when you just so deeply want to scream, when you so deeply want to shout, when you just so deeply want to do something to express all that's bubbling up in you, but you don't feel like it's appropriate, or you don't think that there's any space for you to feel your feelings and to have those things honored, or those feelings honored by either the circumstances that you're in or the people around you. And it just makes it worse. Having to push it down, having to keep on keeping on, having to be the strong one, oftentimes exasperates the pain that you might be experiencing than if you would have just been able to express it, process it, and move through it. So shout out to Emayatzy. I'm mispronouncing her name. Emayatzy, I believe. She did such a beautiful job of portraying Jax during this episode, which she has been all season, right? All series. But specifically in this episode, I felt every bit of the emotional turmoil that happens when you experience something like this, and then the subsequent stifling of your own feelings and the holding it in and the weight that you can feel on your chest or your shoulders. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I felt her deeply. And it might be because I'm also in a space right now where I don't feel like there's currently any room for my feelings, and I'm trying to make space for some of the people that I love to feel how they feel and have their big feelings. And I'll, put my feelings on a back burner in this moment just so that they can have that. It was just relatable as fuck. And with that said, now Lewis will never know peace as far as I'm concerned. This episode went out of its way to prove to me that my intuition was right. And I had already thought that my intuition was right last episode. If y'all watched my previous live, then you already know that. But Lewis is the biggest loser we have ever found. And I literally wrote in my notes while I was watching, I said, one of the worst things a man can do is to make their woman feel like they are a clown or a loser. Because the moment that we see you as a clown or a loser is the moment that it's over. The moment that we know that we're not protected. The moment that we realize we done fucked up because we done made the wrong decision. Because you are a clown. And not only does Lewis do that by his decision to keep lying. And I love that they had Jax from the very top of this episode point out all the instances where he chose to lie and he could have told the truth and they would not wind up where they are now if he had actually told the truth, but he chose to lie. But in addition to that, they give us the flashbacks to them meeting, to them courting, and to them getting married, and peppered all throughout those little flashback moments are loserdom as well. Yes, Jax had fell in love with the romanticism of it all, of his pursuit of her, but I saw a loser way back then in 1992 or whenever the hell it was. Because what do you mean Jax is sitting there on a computer working on whatever she's working on because she just made partner at the law firm with all these white folks, and you working on your little presentation for your little gaming company? You stop what she's doing and ask her to listen to your presentation. Then you get the hemming and hawing, shucking and jiving, sounding stupid, and she pauses you and says you need to speak with more confidence, and now you got attitude with her. When I tell y'all, one of the number one things that's going to trigger me so quickly is a man who cannot understand or cannot put respect on a powerful woman's presence, aura, and everything that she comes with. Jax has always been out of Lewis's league. Lewis was never supposed to pull a Jax. And my problem is that you bum ass, lazy ass, loser ass go and find Jax Stewarts, but then you want them to play humdrum hoe ass Tonys. Jax was never going to be a Tony. And if you weren't ready to step it up, if you weren't ready to boss up, if you weren't ready to find your goddamn confidence, then you should not have found a woman who has confidence, who's able to boss up, and who has all the ambition that any of y'all can need in the whole goddamn world. Watching Lewis not only in the flashbacks in this episode back to when they were courting, and then watching him now sit at the damn with the therapist in the solo session talking about he just tired of doing the work. You're tired of being a mediocre ass man, but you went and found a stellar ass woman? Nobody told you to be batting out of your league. Nobody told you to be shooting for a damn job that's out of your pay grade, ho. You're unqualified to actually be the husband of Jax, but your ass looked up, hit the lottery, and now you mad about it. Let's be for real. There is nobody on this earth that will convince me that Lewis is not a loser. I will never root for any type of damn Lewises, because there are plenty of women who might not want all that Jax wants, who might not come with everything that Jax come with, and you could have found one of those. You could have found one of those who would sit across from you while you practice your little mediocre ass presentation, and you get the almond and you get the hemming and hawing, and she just sit there and smile like a Cheshire cat, regardless of how stupid you sound, because she don't know the difference. You don't get no boss ass partner who knows what it means to command a room, who knows what it means to create a presentation that pulls people in and gets people bought into whatever the hell you're presenting about, and gets them to want to be on your team and want to give you whatever the hell you asking for. You don't get one of those, sit them across from you, and then get to saying, well, I think this is kind of that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And it's unfortunate, because when a woman like Jax dates down, and yes, I'm going to go ahead and say it now, she dated down with Lewis, now you get to see how we suffer for it. Hate it. Hate everything about it. Lewis can rot in hell if you ask me. And I don't care about his little profession. I live to... What did he say? I wrote notes, actually, y'all. You might not be able to brag about me like I brag about you. Whose fault is that? Oh, okay. He said he lives to love her. He exists to love her. So then why don't you do it well? Why aren't you doing it better? Why are you settling for what you know love to be versus rising to the occasion of the type of love that Jax actually needs? If you quote unquote are here, put on this earth to love her. Because you ain't stop and think about that. Because loving her correctly, loving her adequately, loving her to the measures that she actually deserves and warrants, that don't come across your goddamn wheelhouse or your mind. You love her to the best that you know, regardless of whatever the hell trauma came together to make this little half-ass bit of love that you got here. You started the episode off, Lewis, talking about, you wanted to be kind, so you didn't tell Jax in case it wasn't nothing to worry about. But then when you took your ass over there to the couch at Sally's house, then you sat up there and told old dude, I didn't want to have to hear about it until I had to hear about it. That's the thing. That's the thing right there. So stop lying, stop gaslighting, talking about you care about her, you love her, you're a devoted husband, you do this, you do this, you do this, and then you aren't actually honest about all of your selfish ass motivations. Because if you truly live to serve her, if you truly live to love her, then you would do that shit better. I'm sorry, y'all. Lewis literally has me completely pissed, and I'm ready for him to go. I was so off put when we get to the moment where Jax is about to potentially kiss Corey. And yes, while I didn't want her to cheat, because I wanted her to maintain the moral high ground in this moment to Lewis, but then I did want her to cheat because I felt like Corey would have put it on her, and it would have been everything that she could have ever wanted. Then she gets to flashing back to Damon, and that startled me, and I got exactly where we were with her psychologically, and that's the moment that I knew she could not actually do it. She could not actually consummate the lust that she was feeling, the desire that she was feeling, because it was tied to the trauma that led her into the entanglement that we got to watch last season with Damon. And I was like, God damn it. But it was wonderful storytelling and great TV. In addition to, her swapping out visually in the moment, Damon for Corey, she also had flashbacks to Lewis. And I hate that he has this hold on her, but I will say that we learned in this episode that she genuinely did love Lewis. And he is, I guess, what she would deem as the love of her life. Hate that for her. She deserves definitely better. But y'all know, if y'all have been watching my live streams, then I wasn't really sure of if Lewis was basically like, oh, well, I want to be married and you seem good enough, so I'm gonna marry you. No, it seems like she married him because she actually was into him, which is unfortunate. I hate the idea that we always have to date down, or we always have to, like, Lewis spending all that time talking to the damn therapist about he's tired of doing this and he's tired of doing that, and making it seem like Jax ain't do nothing in their damn relationship. Meanwhile, she been carrying every goddamn thing, in addition to part of her requirements and being in this relationship with you is that she has to play small. That's too big of a price. F that. Go find a little bitty bitch and stop making big bitches be small. How about that? Let me think. I want to talk about Krystal going to law school. That's great and all, but between the Corey, Jax, and Lewis of it all, and Lewis specifically, and I want to drag him this entire breakdown. I really don't have much to say about Krystal. Great, you're gonna be a lawyer, girl. You're gonna be great. She was worried about Jax not supporting her in that. That was never gonna be the problem, honey, ever. We also get to see in this episode that the prosecution rests their case. So now it's going to be Jax and Corey's turn to put up all of their witnesses, and they're basically constructing their deconstruction of the prosecution's case as we get ready to come into the tail end of the season. I didn't really love Lewis offering up the sex club after she had Naima. She's like still pumping. Spencer's only 3, and they are guests in a little sex slump. So we get to see him suggest them go to the sex club. And I'm just like, so you need to see your wife get rubbed on by another man for y'all both to be turned on. Like, this is weird to me. This is weird. But on a whole other note, like outside of this particular show, I feel like there's a lot of shows right now that are trying to push the polyamorous conversations and the open marriage conversations. And I really don't understand it. I don't believe that they actually fit into the circumstances that they're being used for, similar to what we saw in BEL AIR. And it really just kind of annoyed me. If she needed to have another man touch her to be turned on by you, y'all have bigger fish to fry and bigger problems. I'm just saying. What other? I had some other notes. I really wrote down, say this and mean it. So, because Lewis had all of these things to say at the very end of the episode where he professed that he got to come over there and tell Jax exactly how he feel. But none of it felt like he actually means it, because you're saying one thing and your actions look like another. So I don't actually believe you. And I love the therapist in this episode who took solo sessions with both Jax and Lewis. In his solo sessions with Jax, he discovers that Jax doesn't trust unconditional love because she's never experienced it. And I really thought that was profound how they unpacked that and took her to that place. However, I feel like that set her up, because when Lewis comes at the end of the damn episode talking about, oh, I love you unconditionally, now she thinks it's lock and key, and this is what she was actually supposed to accept, and what she's supposed to, like, he's gonna be the one to do the thing and love her regardless, when no, he fucked up, and then he tries to get an attitude with you about having real big feelings about how he fucked up. It's gaslighting 101. And it's Lewis's baby. I'm gonna just go ahead and leave it there, y'all. Those are my thoughts. I'm gonna unpack it a little bit more in the live stream. Let me know yours in the conversation. In the comment section down below. It's your good sis you love to talk TV with. Give this video a like because you made it all the way to the end. I know that you liked it, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.